What's up, guys? Today we are back in Arden and we're gonna talk about farming. I realize this video is crazy long. I did what I could to make it short, but you need to know everything is in it and it is what it is, homie. You either want to know the stuff in it or you don't. It took a lot of work. As long as you see it took much longer to make it and then to edit it. So smash that like button. Farming is the most tedious day job I can think of in Arden. You aren't going to know that until you get to level 90 farming in Arden. The biggest reason for that is because you can't start fertilizing until level 90. Well, the first step would be getting the plants, and where you get the seeds at first would be look for wild plants. And you gotta have a sickle. You're gonna start by making a stone one, and then you see the plants, carrots, or whatever is peas, whatever is in season in your region at that particular time. You press K and you can see what's seeding at this particular time. Domestic potatoes and all those things. Now this is worldwide. In order to see what's happening in your particular region, you have to look at the map, which I'm about to show you. As far as gathering, that's over here. You can gather domestic potatoes and those things. Normally, you can, whatever's seeding is also time to gather. Normally, whenever you're pulling something out of the ground, you will put the seeds right back. Okay, to see what is in your region, let's make this bigger. You're just gonna go to the map, press the star button. Sometimes you gotta like tap or zoom in or whatever. And me, I'm in Crimstad, so you can hover over this. And you see that big list right there. And rye, carrot, peas, whitewood. Sometimes it can be a little misleading, but the best way to find out, do what I did, look for wild plants, and then you will know. I know peas, I know carrots are in at this particular time. Sometimes things can be harder to find. So right now it looks like it's only peas and carrots and blah blah blah, but there may be something that I'm just not seeing right now. This is not the best landscape to see. You got all these other bushes and whatnot, and the road's not particularly easy either. Q is gonna depend on what you plant. 10, that's normally if you plant a 10 in a 10 soil, inspect, that's a 10, and you use at least quality 10 water, you will get a 11 back. 11 plant with an 11 seed, if applicable. Like a pea ain't got no seed, so you would just get an 11 pea back most of the time. Some of the peas are going to be 10s just like you planted. It's just how it is. If you have 10 soil, 10 pea, and you plant it with 8Q water, then it's going to be an 8Q pea that you plant, and it's going to change the soil into 8Q soil, like forever. Even if you plow it right back up and be like, oops, I made a mistake, too bad. that soil is now 8Q soil. So if you plant in its place a 10QP with 100Q water, don't matter. It's gonna be an 8QP there. So that's why I say it's tedious, because you gotta look every time. Every time you gotta make sure what you're planting, and you gotta be careful. And it's not like you can choose what you're planting. The only way you can choose what you're planting is by controlling what's in your inventory. And on top of that, the only way, I mean, you cannot fertilize until you're level 90. You can put things in the compost bin, in the compost pile, whatever it's called, but you cannot actually fertilize things until you're level 90 for farming, which is not a fast thing. Anyway, you're going to want to start putting things in the compost bin way ahead of time, because you need a lot of fertilizer. So it's pretty simple farming until you get to level 90. You will hear things like you can go somewhere and find better dirt, and then, you know, higher Q dirt, and then farm with that. That's true. You know, this is quality 10 dirt right here. I know where some quality 40 dirt is. I could go and get that and break it down into chunks of 15 and just sprinkle that 15 on top. And then this is going to be whatever that quality is. Let's say it's 45. But like I said, if I plant a quality 10 seed in it, then that quality 45 dirt goes right down to quality 10. There's no need to go and get that quality 45 dirt unless you're going to put a quality 45 seed in it, and you got quality 45 water to do it with. And you raise the Q of your water by taking the water out. So you just stand here and click get water out, and you do that every day. You take all the water out, and if you play for hours every IRL day, then you'll do that several times a day. So it's pretty straightforward. We'll go over here and I'll show you how the compost bin is. Thank you for getting in the way, Moose. Watch out, homie. Okay, the compost heap is what it's called. Alright. You can put vegetables in here, and that's it. You can put straw in here. Like these peas that will go in there, and then they will start getting a line on them like iron does in the furnace. Then they will turn into dung, which don't make no sense, okay? But don't blame me. I'm not the one who decided that's what it was. Once you take the dung out, the fertilizer, you can't put it back in. It's got a big storage here, holds a lot. But try not to take out more than you're going to use, because you can't put it back. Press A, press the star, so the highest quality is at the bottom. You'll find that once you hit 90 and you start fertilizing, that you may be like, well, I can't fertilize past 40. What is going on? That's because you need to fertilize with a higher Q fertilizer. That's what it is. That's why I tell you, you need to start putting things in here sooner. Alright, like this 100Q fertilizer dung. I feel so stupid calling it dung. This 100Q fertilizer right here will take it up several notches instead of just like one or two or a few. It will crank it up several notches, and I'm talking about the Q of the soil. at a time. So in the beginning, yeah, when you're just planting and you can't fertilize yet, it's so easy. You just right click and make it, and then right click on whatever you're planting, and that's all you're doing is just walking around left clicking. It's very easy. But I'm going to show you, I've already described it to you, but I'm going to take you over to the wheat farm and I'm going to show you what it's like when you actually have to fertilize. It's annoying, it's very tedious. Because what I'm doing is I'm only fertilizing in one place. I'm trying to come up from like 40 something in one farm when I've got two farms, because it's too much. It's too much to do two farms at once. You can only sow seeds on plowed, fertilized soil. You cannot sow seeds on forest soil. You cannot sow seeds on unplowed soil. So you can plow it with a shovel, or you can use a plow, which is this thing. This thing is much faster. When you start plowing fields, you're going to want to build this thing, homie. It's better if you walk backwards with it. So like this right here, this is unplowed earth. There's no option to sow seeds here. This is plowed. Sow wild peas. See, I can sow seeds there. Even when you ain't fertilizing, farming it's still tedious. I know I said before it's simple, and it is simple because all you're doing is going along and clicking, but it's still tedious. I mean, you gotta like turn on a movie or something, or I guess play some music, because each and every one of these squares you got to go through and click, and this is when you're not fertilized. So when you're doing a lot of farming like you see me about to do right here, especially if you use a wagon. I got a wagon that I use specifically for farming, so I don't have to, empty the wagon empty all the stuff out of wagon, because you're gonna get, your pockets are gonna get filled. You see how this is? This is how it is, man. Farming is not, I mean, like most things, at first it's not that bad, but then the monotony of it gets to you. And that's just for 2 rows. I got more over there. But when you have the wagon here, you can just zip this stuff on over there. You can see these were all the same queue when I put them in the ground, and you can see what's come out of the ground. 45 through 47. Now, I like things like cabbage because you get the vegetable and you get the seeds. With things like peas and potatoes, you get just the vegetable, which is also in and of itself the seed, like what you plant. So you have to, it requires more planning. Like, you have to set some of the vegetables. See, there's no setting things aside here. It's like you aren't going to be eating cabbage seeds. So it's like you're just going to be cooking the cabbage. So it's a whole lot less thinking involved. If it was a lazy day and I did not want to raise the queue. You could just inspect it. It's 46. If I wanted to be lazy, I would just plant these 46s in the ground and just let that run for next time. But I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to show you how much work is involved. And I'm going to come over here to the compost pile, bin, whatever it is. Hurry up and wait. Pull all this water out. And this is what you gotta do when you're trying to up your well. You don't want to carry any water on you or in your wagon that's lower than any seed you're gonna plant, because you're gonna mess around and accidentally use it. And ask me how I know that. How do you think I know that? Compost heap. And when you're looking in the compost heap, I know I'm gonna plant 47s. So yeah, I mean, it's possible some 20s will work. We can try that. 30s, I would say would definitely work. 40s, yes, no question. I don't think they let you carry enough in this game. Plant 47s. Ideally, we want the soil to be 48. Inspect. 12. I do not know how that happened. Oh, because that's over there. Gotta see what we're working with. That's outside of the claim, so that doesn't even matter. 46, so it needs to be one higher. Why is it not an option to fertilize? I have fertilizer. Because he's not 90 yet. Yeah. I was trying to get some farming experience with this tune right here. But I cannot do that. I cannot fertilize with him. So I'm just gonna collect all this stuff. All these vegetables. And then I'll come back with my main. Also want to mention the grain stockpile. It says grain stockpile, which in English, especially in the United States, means a place where you would store grains. It does not mean a place where you would store vegetables or barley. But in this game, it does mean a place where you would store vegetables and barley and seeds. So, yeah, cabbage seeds, all that stuff you can store in here, and it's got a lot of storage. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you're trying to up the queue of your farm like I'm doing here, it's just a matter of what you're trying to do. It is really hard to up the queue of your farm while you are also, doing some top-notch cooking type stuff. Like this tune right here, I want to use for cooking activities. I can't really do it. He's got to cook scraps for real. because most of the stuff it's got to go in this compost bin. I need all these, 47 and these quotation mark high end vegetables to go in the compost heap because high end vegetables make high end compost. And I need that to make, to raise the queue of my farm. I think my main has a farm in a 92 right now. Yeah, that's a long way from 47. So when I'm ready to actually start fertilizing and upping my queue on the crops, I'm just gonna inspect 92. Let's see what level the seeds are. Press A, then press the star, and that makes it so the lower right is the highest level queue there is. So you don't have to go and search through all of them to see which one's which. I got 22 92s. That doesn't mean that the one after it isn't 92s for like 2 or 3. See how this is 13? This is 13. It can help to turn the grids on with F3. And you're just going to inspect fertile soil 92. It helps if you get the system over here and you get that by just grabbing the tab up here, holding it with left mouse button and dragging it over here, and then it'll be there. Every now and then you have to do it again, but for the most part it stays there. And then whenever I press tab, I can see it is 92. So I'm gonna fertilize, and then I see it's raised up to 94. I'm just gonna go down this line. I'm gonna inspect all these squares, and I'm gonna say if they're all 92, then it's cool to plant all 92s here. And you gotta be careful because it will plant out of your inventory whatever seeds that you don't want it to plant. I forget if it plants the highest or the lowest or whatever. So just only have in your inventory the seeds that you want it to plant. And you see how like this row over here is kind of bleeding into this row. Don't even pay attention to that. It would help a lot if they didn't do that. But they do that, so... This is a 10. I've got this wheelbarrow here as an indicator that this row is all 90s. Now these back here, these two are 10s. If I wanted to raise them up, I would do it not with this 100Q dirt fertilizer. I would do it with some other fertilizer. These are 10s, 12, 12. I'd get it up as close as I could with the other fertilizer, and then when I was forced to use the high Q fertilizer, that's when I would use it. Now I'm gonna go back. I'm going to go ahead and plant all the 92 flax here. Because I swear, even though I've gotten that advice to fertilize one higher than what seed I'm about to sow, I've not done that before. And I've gotten plants back or seeds back that were one higher consistently. Not every time, not every plant, but with every planting, I always get crops back that are one higher. But that's the tedious part of the farming there, is checking every square. You see, I have checked this row so many times that I don't have to check it anymore. I just check, a few of them, and I know, oh yeah, that's right. I've checked it 1,000 times. It's a 12. So what I'm going to do is hold aside this high Q fertilizer, and I'm going to go over here and get some low Q fertilizer. So once I start using this 92, then I'm pretty much committed. Let's see how many 92 seeds I have. So this is going to be you. I mean, farming is really a full-time job. This is going to be you if you choose farming. That's why I say before, you really need a clan. Because imagine doing this and doing everything else too. I'm just going to put fertilize on the main action that happens whenever I click these. And then I see on the system tab what it gets raised to. So I'm just going to click a bunch of times. If you see it start to get stuck on a number, then that means you need to switch to another square and come back later, because the Q of the fertilizer you're using is not high enough to raise it up anymore. It's stuck at 80, so it's time to move on ahead. You see how many clicks and how boring and time consuming it was getting that one square. That's how it's going to be all the way down this line, homie. This farming is tedious. You want a clan. So with the higher Q fertilizer, like 73Q for instance, you can see I jumped ahead much faster. I'll just do it on this one. This is 12. Now it's 27, 40, 50, 59. The higher Q fertilizer works a lot faster, a lot better. But if you don't use up the lower Q fertilizer on the lower levels, you can't use it later. That's the thing about that. So yeah, you've got that decision to make. Now when I'm working in the field and I want to go and do something, I don't want to come back and inspect all the squares and discover where I was. That's a huge pain. So I will drop something that I can stand to lose, and then go back to the cart or wherever, go and get what I need to get and come back. And when I come back, if it will let me look, then I will know where I was, because that bag will be sitting at where I was. The way you get this enough high quality fertilizer to fertilize all this stuff is to just keep reinvesting the crops. It's kind of like when you make some money, you keep investing it, reinvest in it. You got a business going and you keep reinvesting it into the business. These crops grow out, instead of using them for whatever you'd use them for, you stick them in the compost bin, and then you stick that compost in the ground so that you can have better crops. That's the basics of it. Before I did this video, I had one row of 92 flax. Now I have 2 rows of 92 flax. But it was not that fast. I had the one row for, 2 or 3 growings. And I was just sitting that flax aside for all that time. I wasn't using it. But in the future, I'll have more. And I'll have to decide what to do with that flax. But up here, I grow some 10Q flax, and I've been using that for rope or whatever, for making wagons and stuff, and that's just how it is. You ain't gonna get the good stuff in a day. You can also put nuts from hazel trees in the compost pile bin, whatever it's called. You can see I got 153.74Q from just these few right here. I can't, what is there, like 9 of them, 8 or 9 of them, maybe 10. So make sure you plant those 74Q. Yeah, they don't come around often. You can press K to see when they're gonna be seeding and when they're gonna be in the gathering season. I guess fruiting is the word. But stay on top of that, or get your guild forester to be on top of that, because that's an easy way to go up in farming Q. It's the same thing with apple trees. You can use apples for some things, same as the nuts off of hazel trees. They're useful in some recipes. Apples can be used in snare traps. But for real, if you're on top of things, gathering the apples for real, watching where, clusters of apples are, planting your apple trees, this and that, then you will soon have an abundance of apples. And that means that you can feed high quality apples to the compost bin.